The first time people saw her standing beside Elias Crow, they thought she was either the bravest woman in Texas or the next one bound for a grave. By sunset, most had chosen the grave, because men like Elias Crow did not marry, they buried. The dust rolled through Black Hollow like smoke from hell itself the day they arrived. Horses snorted, boots dragged across wooden porches. Saloon music died behind swinging doors as if someone had strangled the piano player. And there he was, Elias Crow, the most dangerous gunslinger in Texas. His black coat hung low over silver revolvers weren't smooth from use. A scar crossed his jaw like lightning burned into flesh. His eyes held that cold stillness only seen in winter rivers and dying men. Beside him rode a woman in a faded blue dress. No guards, no fear, just silence. Her name was Clarabelle, and she had married the devil of Texas. No one knew why. No one dared ask, because Black Hollow remembered Elias Crow. 6 years earlier, he'd ridden into town alone and left 7 men bleeding beneath the noon sun. Some called it murder. Others called it justice.
The sheriff had called it survival and buried the bodies before supper. Now he was back, married, and something about that frightened people more than his guns ever had. Clara noticed the stares. She kept her chin high while Elias dismounted. The hotel owner nearly dropped his keys. "You stayin' long, Mr. Crow?" Elias looked toward the distant hills. Long enough. The man swallowed. That answer carried weight. Men who lived by the gun never promised time. Clara stepped down from her horse. Her gloves were dusty, but her hands remained steady. The hotel owner glanced between them. 2 rooms?
Elias answered first. 1. The man nodded too quickly and hurried inside. Across the street, old Sheriff Dalton stood outside the jail. His beard had turned white since Elias last came through town, but fear never changed. Dalton crossed slowly. "You got nerve showing your face here." Elias didn't smile. "Still breathing, Dalton?" "Against my better judgment." Their eyes locked. Old history sat between them like loaded powder. Then Dalton looked at Clara. "You know who you married?" Before she could speak, Elias said quietly, "Careful." But Clara answered anyway, "I know enough." Dalton studied her face, and for a strange moment pity appeared in his eyes. Then he said something that settled cold into the evening air. "Hope you know what happened to the last woman that loved him." The street fell silent. Elias stepped closer. Dalton held his ground, though his hand twitched near his holster. But Clara noticed something. The sheriff wasn't afraid of Elias. He was afraid for her. Elias spoke low. "Watch your mouth." Dalton shook his head. "Truth don't care about manners." Then he turned and walked away. That night, thunder rolled beyond the mesas. Rain tapped against hotel windows while Clara unpacked quietly. Elias sat in darkness near the bed. He hadn't removed his guns, hadn't touched whiskey, hadn't spoken 10 words since sunset. Finally, Clara broke the silence. "You never told me about another woman." He stared toward the rain. "She died." "How?" His jaw tightened. "Wrong place." That answer usually means guilt. He looked at her then. Long, heavy, like a man deciding whether truth was mercy or cruelty. "You should sleep." "That ain't what I asked." Elias stood. The floor creaked beneath his boots. "You married me knowing what I am." "No," Clara said softly. "I married you knowing what people say you are." Lightning flashed. For a second, his scar gleamed white. Then he said words she'd remember forever. "Those are usually the same thing." He left the room. Clara watched rain crawl down glass, and somewhere below she heard the saloon doors open, then close. She slept poorly, dreams filled with gunfire and faceless men. Near dawn,
Shouting erupted outside. She rushed to the window. A body lay in mud. Young ranch hand, shot dead. And pinned to his chest with a knife was a playing card.
Ace of spades. The street buzzed with fear. Sheriff Dalton arrived. So did Elias. He crouched beside the corpse. Dalton's voice cut through the crowd. "Looks familiar." Elias said nothing, but Clara saw something change in his face. Recognition. Bad recognition. Dalton noticed too. "You know this mark." Finally, Elias stood. Thought he was dead. The sheriff cursed. People leaned closer. Dalton lowered his voice. "Who?" Elias stared toward distant hills. Jonah Rusk. The name spread like poison. Even Clara had heard it. Jonah Rusk. Bandit leader. Mass killer.
A man rumored to skin enemies alive, and once, long ago, Elias Crow's partner. Dalton looked grim. "Impossible. Rusk died in Mexico." "No body?" Elias replied. "Rumor says you shot him." "I did." Silence followed. Then Dalton asked the question nobody wanted answered. "If Rusk's alive," Elias finished it. "He came for me." The town changed after that. Doors locked early. Children vanished indoors. Men cleaned rifles with shaking hands, and whispers followed Clara wherever she walked. By evening, she entered the general store. Conversation stopped. An older woman approached. "You should leave."
Clara met her eyes. "You don't know me." "Don't need to. I knew the other one." Clara stiffened. "The woman sheriff mentioned?" The woman nodded. Rose Mercer. Something in her tone carried sorrow. She loved Crow, too. "What happened?" The woman hesitated, then leaned closer. She disappeared. Clara felt cold. "No grave?" "None." The woman glanced toward the door. People blamed Rusk. But some said Elias buried more than enemies. Outside, wind rattled signs. Clara returned to the hotel uneasy. That night, Elias cleaned his revolvers. She watched him. "Did you kill her?" He stopped. The room held still. Then he resumed cleaning. "No. You loved her?" A pause. "Once. And she vanished?" "Yes. You expect me not to wonder?" His voice turned sharp. "I expect you alive." That answer angered her. "You think silence protects people?" He looked up. "It protects them from truth." She crossed her arms. "Maybe I deserve truth." His eyes hardened. "You deserve better than me." Then came the knock. 3 quick strikes. Elias moved instantly, gun drawn. He opened the door. Sheriff Dalton stood there, rain dripping from his hat. They hit Miller Ranch. Elias grabbed his coat. "How many?" 4 dead. Clara stood. "You're going after them?" Dalton answered. "He is." Elias checked ammunition. "You stay here." Clara stepped forward. "No." He looked at her. "You ain't riding into this. I didn't marry a shadow. You married trouble. Then let me see it." For a moment, something almost human crossed his face. Fear. Not for himself. For her. But before he spoke, Dalton said quietly, "She ought to know." Elias stared at the sheriff. Dalton continued, "Rusk don't kill fast." The room chilled. Elias holstered his weapon. "You ride behind me. You listen. And when I say run..."
"I know." "No," he said. "You don't." They rode beneath storm clouds. 3 riders. Mud splashing beneath hoofs. The Miller Ranch burned ahead. Smoke climbed into moonlight. Bodies lay near the barn. Clara fought nausea. One victim still clutched a child's toy. Then Elias found another card. Ace of spades. He crouched, studied tracks. 6 riders. Dalton frowned. "That all?" "No." Elias looked toward the hills. "He wants me hunting." A sound echoed. Horse whinny. Then gunfire. Chaos exploded. Shots from ridgelines. Dalton dove behind a wagon. Clara dropped beside Elias.
Bullets tore wood apart. Dark riders emerged through smoke. Bandits, masked. Elias fired. Fast, terrifyingly fast. One rider fell, then another. Clara had seen guns before, but this was different. He moved like violence had learned to walk. The attack lasted seconds, then silence. Remaining riders vanished, and one voice drifted from darkness. Smooth, cold. You still shoot pretty, Crow. Clara saw Elias freeze. The voice continued. You brought the wife. No answer. Only rain. Then laughter. You finally found someone foolish enough. Elias stepped forward. Show yourself.
The voice grew closer, though no figure appeared. You know why I'm here. Elias gripped his revolver. You should have stayed buried. Funny, the voice replied. Rose said the same thing. Clara's blood turned cold. Then hoofbeats faded. Gone. Only storm remained. Sheriff Dalton cursed. But Clara looked at Elias, and for the first time since meeting him, he looked afraid. Back in town, Dawn crept pale and sickly. Elias said little. Clara cornered Dalton outside the jail. Tell me about Rose. The sheriff hesitated, then sighed. 5 years back, she and Crow rode together. Thought maybe she'd changed him. Did she? For a while? What happened? Dalton stared toward mountains. Rusk returned. And? Rose learned something. What? He shook his head. Never found out. Clara pressed harder. You think Elias killed her? Dalton looked uncomfortable. I think Crow kills when he must. That ain't an answer. No, Dalton admitted. It ain't. That afternoon, Clara discovered something unexpected. Hidden beneath Elias's saddlebag, a locket. Inside sat a faded photograph. Rose Mercer. And on the back, if he learns the truth, we're both dead. Clara's breath caught. Footsteps approached. She turned. Elias stood there. His face darkened seeing the locket. You went through my things. You lied to me. He took the locket. I said I didn't kill her. But you know what happened. Silence. Then she showed him the inscription. His expression changed. Pain. Real pain. You never saw this before? She asked. He looked away. No. Then who wrote it? He said nothing. And that frightened her most. Night fell heavy. The town gathered in fear. Men armed themselves. Dalton organized watches. And Clara sat alone until footsteps approached. A boy stood outside. Lady? He handed her folded paper, then ran. Inside. Meet me at the old chapel if you want the truth about Rose. Come alone. No name, no signature. Only an ace of spades. Clara should have burned it. Instead, she hid it. And after midnight, she went. The chapel stood abandoned beyond town. Moonlight silvered broken windows. Inside smelled of dust and old prayer. Hello? Silence. Then, a click. Hammer pulled back. She turned. A man emerged from shadow. Tall, bearded, eyes pale as winter. Jonah Rusk. Alive and smiling.
You're prettier than Rose. Clara backed away, gun aimed at her chest. You killed those people. Not personally. He stepped closer. You know why Crow married you? She stayed silent. He didn't tell you? His smile widened. He married you because you're useful. You're lying. Am I? He tossed something toward her. A ring. Woman's ring. Rose's initials. Ask him where I found it. Footsteps thundered outside. Then gunfire. Rusk laughed. Right on time. Elias burst through the chapel doors, gun raised. His eyes locked on Rusk, and hatred filled the room like fire.
Rusk kept Clara between them. Still rescuing women? Let her go. You said that about Rose, too. Clara looked between them. What happened to her? Rusk grinned. You never told her? Elias's voice dropped. Don't. But Rusk loved the moment. Rose learned what Crow did. Clara stared. Rusk continued. Years ago, we robbed a payroll train. Soldiers, gold, blood everywhere. Elias said nothing. And Crow made a choice. Rusk tilted his head. He left someone behind. The chapel felt colder. Who? Clara whispered. Rusk smiled. My sister. He laughed softly. She died begging for help.
Elias's jaw clenched. Enough. Oh, we're just starting. Rusk's voice sharpened. Rose found letters. Learned Crow abandoned her. Clara looked at Elias. You left her? His silence answered. Rusk nodded. Rose couldn't stomach it. Then he leaned close to Clara. So Crow buried his shame. Gunfire erupted. Elias fired. Rusk shoved Clara aside. The bullet struck his shoulder. He crashed through chapel window and vanished into darkness. Elias rushed to Clara. You hurt? She shoved him away. Did you leave her? He breathed hard. Yes. The answer struck harder than gunfire. You let her die? I couldn't save both. And Rose, his eyes darkened. She found out. What happened to her? Pain crossed his face. I don't know. The town hunted Rusk till dawn. Nothing. Only tracks leading west. And Clara sat in silence. Elias approached carefully. You should leave Black Hollow. She looked at him. Because he wants me dead. Because I ruin everything near me. She studied his face. The killer everyone feared. The man she'd married. And beneath it all, a wounded soul drowning in ghosts. Then she asked quietly, Do you love me? His answer came painfully slow. More than I should. She almost cried. Instead, she said, Then stop hiding. Hours later, another body appeared, this time outside the hotel, and pinned beside it, Rose Mercer's necklace. Dalton looked shaken. He's playing with us. But Clara saw Elias staring toward the cemetery, like memory had grabbed him by the throat. That evening, he finally spoke. I lied about one thing. She waited. I know where Rose went. Silence. She found proof about the train robbery. Said she was leaving. And I followed. His voice weakened. We argued at Red Canyon. Clara's heart pounded. She rode off angry. And? He swallowed. Rusk was waiting. The room turned still. I heard shots. His hands shook. When I found the canyon, he couldn't finish. Clara understood anyway. You found blood. He nodded. No body. She realized then, all these years, he'd carried that grave inside himself. Before dawn, Elias saddled his horse. Clara emerged. You're leaving. Rusk wants me alone. You think I'll stay? I think you deserve life. She stepped closer. No, I deserve truth. He looked at her a long moment, then nodded. They rode toward Red Canyon. Dalton joined them. Wind screamed through stone walls, and near sunset, they found him. Jonah Rusk, waiting beside a grave. Single grave, unmarked. Rusk smiled. Took you long enough. Elias dismounted. This ends today. Oh, it ended years ago. Rusk kicked dirt from the grave marker. Clara froze. Rose Mercer. Elias went pale. You. Rusk laughed. She screamed your name. Elias charged. Gunfire exploded. Dalton fired. Rusk's men emerged from rocks. Battle tore through canyon walls. Clara hid behind stone. Bullets sparked everywhere. Then she saw it. Rusk sackling behind Elias.
She grabbed Dalton's rifle. Fired.
Missed. But enough. Elias turned. 2 shots cracked almost together. Silence followed. Dust drifted. Jonah Rusk staggered. Blood spread across his chest. He looked shocked, then smiled weakly. Guess she shoots prettier. And collapsed. Dead. The canyon went still. Remaining riders fled. Elias stood motionless, then slowly approached the grave. His knees hit dirt. He touched the marker. And for the first time, Clara saw him cry. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just quietly. Like a man whose war finally ended. They buried Rusk nearby. No prayer. No tears. Only wind.
Days later, Black Hollow felt different, safer, though scars remained. Sheriff Dalton watched as Clara packed. "You leaving him?" She looked toward the hotel porch. Elias sat alone. "No." Dalton seemed surprised. "After everything?" She smiled faintly. "Dangerous men ain't always evil." And Crow. She watched her husband. "He ain't dangerous because he loves killin'." Dalton nodded slowly. "Then why?" "Because he forgot how to live." That evening, Elias approached. "You could still go?" Clara shook her head. "And leave you alone with all those ghosts?" He almost smiled. "You deserve peace."
She took his hand. "Then earn it." He looked at her as if no one had ever offered him mercy before. And maybe no one had. The town still whispered when they rode out of Black Hollow. Some said she'd made a mistake. Others said she tamed the devil. But neither was true. Because Elias Crow was never a devil. Just a broken gunslinger carrying graves where his heart should have been. And Clara Bell hadn't married the most dangerous gunslinger in Texas to change him. She married him because somewhere beneath blood, regret, and legend, she saw the man still fighting to save what remained of his soul. And sometimes, the most dangerous man in Texas ain't the one holding the gun. It's the one trying to outrun his own past.